Franchise tag day. Yay! If you ever wondered how little NFL teams value running backs, look at this year's free agent class. Saquon Barkley can go wherever he wants to go. Did even get franchise tagged by the G-Men. All-purpose superstar Austin Eckler. He's been trying to get a better deal. Looks like he's going to be on his way out with the Chargers. Derrick Henry with the Titans. They're going to part ways. You have Josh Jacobs with the Raiders. They failed to agree on an extension. DeAndre Swift and the Eagles. They may part ways as well. And NFL teams have little interest in committing money to veteran running backs with heavy mileage on the tread. And the free agent class, you've got some proven players here. You look at the draft, I don't think there's a running back that has been mentioned at all for the first round here. And it used to be, you wanted to be a running back. Then it became you wanted to be a quarterback. But it used to be in the day, running backs were the stars. You had to have a great running back. And growing up in Ohio, Jim Brown, I got to see him play, not in person, but I got to see him on TV. The Browns games were always on. And you got to see one of the greats of all time. And, their quarterback was just okay. Frank Ryan. Nothing special, but Jim Brown was really special. Even with O.J. Simpson in Buffalo. You probably don't remember the quarterback. I believe Joe Ferguson was the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. Eric Dickerson. You remember these running backs. You may not remember the quarterbacks, but that's not the case anymore. And they tried to sort of unionize or do something last year. Austin Eckler and a group of them were like, wait, let's kind of form this coalition. Let's have a meeting here. And let's see if we can all get together and see if we can be compensated. It's just not going to happen. Christian McCaffrey may be the last of his kind in a variety of ways, but certainly the contract that he signed when he went from Carolina to San Francisco. Kamara got a similar deal, I think, with the Saints, but he has never lived up to that contract. McCaffrey led the league in rushing. I just don't know if you're looking at a running back saying, I'm going to give you the ball 25 times. We don't need you. We have to have you. We don't necessarily we're not dependent upon you. And it used to be you started with your running back. Your running back set up everything. If you could run the ball, control the clock, then your quarterback got play action. Now, all of a sudden, that's your formula for success. Now it's different. Your running back has to be able to block, catch some passes, and oh, by the way, can you run the ball 10 to 15 times a game? That's it. You don't need to spend a lot of money. It's almost like the running back is like a place kicker or a punter. Hey, we got to have you. We're not going to spend a lot of money on you because you know what? You're interchangeable. There's probably 15 running backs who will be taken after the third round who might have the opportunity to stick with the team. Just like Tony Pollard did with the Cowboys, where you went, you don't need Zeke, you got Pollard. Well, now you got Pollard, fourth round pick. You don't need him because there's another Tony Pollard there. And I feel bad for the position because of what it's meant to the game. Go down through history, and it was about running backs. I don't know who Red Grange's quarterback was, but I know who Red Grange was. And then every decade, it felt like there were running backs that you remembered. Marion Motley. There are just so many of them. Now, it's like, they got a couple of interchangeable running backs, but you got that great Isaiah Pacheco. You got Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to get paid. Isaiah Pacheco will not get paid. He's going to run really, really hard for the next couple of years. Then all of a sudden he's going to go, hey, I won a couple of Super Bowls. I ran really, really hard. And it's like, yeah, thanks. Thanks. Got some nice parting gifts for you. All righty. Seton, what's the poll question we're going to start out with?
It's just the worst, huh?
Yeah, it is.
It's just the worst.
Yeah.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah.
Let's see. Paul sent this one over. Which has been more devalued over the years?
Mm-hmm.
The low post center or a running back?
So not a guy who can go down low and post up. It's the guy who goes down on the blocks. That's where he belongs. Hey, get down on the blocks.
It's not even a position anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not even in the game. Like running backs are still used to their detriment. They're just not valued.
I would say the low post guy because It's non-existent. And you don't even need a low post guy.
Nah.
You need to have a running back. You have to have somebody at least in the position. You don't necessarily have to have a great one. And it helps if you have a couple of them. But I would say the low post guy. Yeah, that's all but been shoveled out of the game where you're going, man, remember a big guy? And we do wonder about this. What would the game be like for Shaq now? Or Kareem now? Akeem Olajuwon now? David Robinson now? How would they play? Robert Parrish? Would they be perimeter? Yes, Marv.
You may have to take Akeem out of that because Akeem could get busy facing up towards the basket.
He can give you a 15 foul line extended jumper. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. But some of the other players, they were basically low post. Is Kareem a three-point threat now? Would David Robinson, who didn't have a great shot, be a three-point threat? Shaq, what would you do with Shaq? I still think there's a way to counteract everything that's going on in the NBA. Now, I've been told by those in the NBA, those who follow the NBA, the logic is flawed because it's still about we can get a 3 while you're getting a 2. And I said, well, you can attempt a 3. I can guarantee a 2. If you put Shaq on the low block, I'm getting a 2. If you're going to shoot threes, you're at least attempting to get a 3. But they say my logic is flawed. I always go back to the Cardinals of the mid-'80s with Whitey Herzog. They just had more speed than anybody. Vince Coleman was on that team. They just ran. They played differently in their ballpark. They ended up winning a World Series. But with the big man now, could you see a team where they go, we got 2 big guys on the low blocks, and let's see if you can deal with them? Like, I always wonder, does somebody go counterintuitive and say, here's our game plan, you stop us? Yes, Eden.
Yeah, like for every 3 you miss, we're going to get 4 by kicking it down low.
Yes. I mean, that's my logic here, but I've been watching the game long enough to know styles change, the game changes. Could you do something that disrupts? Somebody's going to get back to just running the football. I've said that because now your defenses, they're built on speed. They're not built on power. Now, do you have a power offense that you have to deal with us now instead of us kind of falling in line with everybody else? Because if I'm trying to be better than Patrick Mahomes, I'm not going to be. I don't have anybody who's going to be better than him. Can we be better than the Kansas City Chiefs? That would be my approach. Yes, Marv.
To your point about the Cardinals of the 80s, I think the speedy leadoff man has gone the same way of the center and the running back.
Yes.
Where they were big time. Like Ricky Henderson was maybe the biggest star in baseball at one point. And now, like a leadoff guy, you just don't need him.
Well, now you're looking at your leadoff guy for hitting home runs. And it used to be, nobody disrupted the game the way Ricky did. I mean, he messed with everybody. And I keep wondering, why wouldn't you still want to do that? And I know it's built on hitting home runs, but I would want to be counteractive and go, you know what? We're going to do it this way. And maybe I would have a park that was spacious. I would have a pitcher's park, and we're going to beat you with speed. You come into our place, you're not going to be able to rely on home runs. If I'm the Oakland A's in my new state, by the way, did you see the
Are you going to be the Mets? That sounds, I'm sorry, no offense, Dan, but that is a terrible plan.
Well, they brought the fences in.
Yeah, because it's too big.
Yeah, but they didn't build a roster that said, hey, we're going to take advantage of this cavernous ballpark.
That's a terrible idea.
Did you see the Oakland A's, the new stadium renderings in Vegas?
Just need to find a home for it and some land, apparently.
Yeah. And maybe some money. If it was going to be
in Vegas, this is what it would look like if they wanted us here anymore, but they don't. So.
It'd be like a glorified snow globe is what it kind of looks like.
When your kids blow a bubble and it lands on the ground and it stays there for a second before it pops, it looks like that.
Because it's not completely covered. It's not a dome. It's an indoor-outdoor.
If it doesn't do the same thing as the sphere that's there where you can show it, look, it's a baseball, there's a thing there, and then it's worthless.
That would be great.